Welcome to episode 9 of Take the Trip with Us, where you get to hear from travel professionals who have experienced destinations firsthand. And today I'm super excited because I have Sarah Anholt, and she is in Maui, and there's waves in the background. That's exciting.
The rain stopped right on time. It was perfect.
Well, good. I know you said it was rainy this morning, so that's awesome. Well, I love the clouds in the sky right now and the pretty blue sky, and I see those waves. So I know it's been a little bit of a challenge for you to get there to Maui. Tell me about that. Tell me about, the website that you went to. How did you do? Because I know with Hawaii just opening back up, how was that?
So Hawaii opened up to mainland visitors on October 15th. And prior to that, they hadn't had anybody here since March or April. And so they wanted to do it in such a way that because their numbers are very low, there's only one hospital on the island and they share a hospital with the island of Lanai. They wanted to do it as safe as possible to keep the locals here safe. So the governor enacted this website. It's called Safe Travels Hawaii. And on this website, after you book your resort or hotel or condo and your airfare, you go onto the Safe Travels website and you have to log all of your itinerary. You have to have your flight information, where you're staying, the members of your party. Every adult has to have a separate account.
So is that just for Maui or is that
so the islands that are participating, the big island is not a part of the Safe Travels. Okay. If you fly to the big island of Hawaii, you have a mandatory 14-day quarantine or the length of your stay, but you cannot leave. And they are very, very strict about making sure that you adhere to the quarantine. They will check on you in your resort, and if you're not there, the fines are $5,000 and up to a year in jail.
Oh my goodness.
So they are making sure that it is that you adhere to the rules and you follow the rules. And if you do, it's not a problem at all. So within 72 hours of your final leg to get into Maui, we had to have a negative COVID test. We had to have proof that had to be uploaded to the Safe Travels website. So just yesterday, they changed it where you had to, before it was, if you didn't have your results, then you would come down, go through the line in the airport. And if you didn't have your negative result, you just quarantined in your room until you got that result uploaded to the website. Okay. As of yesterday, they have since changed it to you have to prove a negative test before you board the plane on the last leg of your journey.
That makes sense.
It does. It really, really does. Because there are a lot of people who didn't come down with their negative test results. And I believe this morning it was 39 people had tested positive, but were allowed on the island. So that's when the governor stepped in and said, we need to figure this out. And, so yesterday they changed it. So within 72 hours of your last leg, you have to have a negative COVID test. There are specific places that you can go. You can't just call your doctor and say, hey, I need a test. I believe now they're up to 17 different CLIA-approved places that you can go. Like we went to Walgreens and got our tests from Walgreens.
So I'm assuming it says that on the website. It
does. All of this
exactly.
is very, very detailed on the website. Very detailed. I cannot stress to people enough to make sure you follow the website to a T. And it will shorten the time that you're in the airport to get to your rental car and get to your resort and start having fun.
That's awesome. And so it's you and your husband and 2 teenagers, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And tell me then the resort that you're at. What is the name of it?
So we are at the Aston Kanapali Shores in Kanapali, which is I think we're about 5 miles from Lahaina, which is like a big area, touristy area, where you'll do all like your tourist activities, the snorkeling and the boats and everything else. So we're not too far from that. The resort is, I cannot say enough great things about this resort.
It sounds so peaceful because I hear the waves.
It is beautiful, absolutely stunningly beautiful. There's 2 pools, one of which is only about 2 years old. I will have pictures of that so you can see it. There's a brand new restaurant right on property. It's so good. We've eaten there twice already. We are in, there's so many different levels of rooms that you can get. They have anything from a studio, like a normal hotel room, but it does have a full kitchen, to a 2-bedroom, 2-bath aloha suite, which is where we are right now. We are on the top floor. We're on the 8th floor. So we have this beautiful, we could sit out here all day. I mean, it really is. There's a beach right down, right down here. There's a beautiful beach and you see the sea turtles and everything. It's a stunningly beautiful resort and the staff is amazing.
So absolutely. How do you feel then as far as like a comfort level? I mean, I know a lot of places you have to have face coverings, masks. Do you wear them when you go out in public?
There is a mask mandate in Maui, and I do believe that it's on Oahu as well. If you leave your resort, your room, you have to have a mask on. You will get a ticket. You will get a fine, $5,000 fine, if you are not wearing your mask. You even have to wear them on the beach. So unless you are in the water, if you just want to lay out on the beach and get tan, you have to have your mask on. And so I feel the reason that we chose to come here above anywhere else is because of the safety. I feel so, and I'm high risk, so I feel so safe. There's not a second that goes by that I'm like, oh, I can't, be near people. They're very serious about social distancing and mask wearing. There is hand sanitizer all over the place. You can only have one person in the elevator at a time unless you're from the same household. Okay. So down here, I feel safer here than I did at home. And even on the flight down, masks in the airports and on the plane and everything. It truly has been, it's been wonderful.
That's awesome. So you mentioned though, in the water. So what if you're in the water at the ocean? I mean, then you can take your mask off?
If you are actively in the water, then no, you do not have your mask, but unless you're in the same circle with your family, you have to be 6 feet apart from people in the water.
Okay. And what about the pool then? If you're sitting around the pool at the resort?
If you're sitting around the pool, you have to have your mask on. Okay. Yes. And they do have people walking around and making sure you have your mask on. And if you don't, they tell you, if you're not in that water, you have to have your mask.
Yeah. That's really, I mean, for a comfort level, I think that's awesome. That makes me feel really good too.
It really does. Yes.
That's awesome. So what activities have you done while you're there?
So and we got here on Tuesday. We got here late Tuesday night around 7 o'clock. So on Wednesday, we did the road to Hana. And if anybody has ever done the road to Hana, it's twisty, turny, all of these winding roads up a mountain. It's kind of scary, but the waterfalls are beautiful, absolutely beautiful. They hadn't had a lot of rain, so there weren't as many waterfalls, but now the rain, it's been raining every day a little bit. But there are, there's still a good amount of waterfalls there. Yesterday, I'm not as adventurous as my family. Okay. So yesterday, my husband took the kids and did a jungle zipline tour, and they loved it. I saw videos of my kids hanging upside down, going through on a zipline. So thank God I was not there. Mama would have been a little scared. But they said it was wonderful. We've just been, enjoying the weather and the family time, the beach, especially the beach. I mean, it's 40 degrees at home right now?
Yes, I think it is.
Yeah, it's 84 here. So, it's it's been really nice. Today is kind of our relaxing day. Tomorrow we're doing a whale watching tour.
Huh?
There have been whale spottings. So it's not a 100% guarantee. It's still early in the season. Whale season doesn't start until mid-December and runs until about April, with January and February being peak time. So they did say you might not see a whale, but just to be out there on the water. They said we'll see dolphins, lots of dolphins.
Oh, yeah. So how does that work then with the boat? I mean, do they only take so many people out?
They do. They only take, I believe it's 10 people on the boat at a time, and you have to have your mask.
Right. Right.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, it sounds wonderful. I'm so glad you made it, because I know you all were like trying to figure out this whole thing there at the end. And
yeah, I can't even lie. It's a very stressful, especially and I'm hearing, because I've been talking to a lot of people just to get their insight on it and everything. To see how other people felt. I mean, me as a travel professional, I feel one way about things. I have a little bit of OCD. I have a Maui binder and everything else, and my family all makes fun of me for it. But I wanted to see how other people, how they thought of it.
yeah.
And they felt the same stress that I did. It is very stressful to make sure, because if you are, so we're Central Time Zone. And they're 4 hours behind us here. And at one point they were 5 hours behind. So to figure out that 72 hours, you have to, like, we left out of Oakland, California. We connected through Oakland, California. So to get to the 72 hours, our flight left at 7 o'clock, or at 5 o'clock, I'm sorry, California time, which is 7 o'clock our time, but you have to be with California time. And so it is really stressful. It's not an easy thing, but if you time it correctly, if you do your research, and do it properly, it's so easy. It really, really is.
It's worth it now, because you're there and you can relax.
Definitely is. And I will say this, I've talked to a lot of local people here. And a lot of the locals who don't own small businesses, they're pretty still, they're kind of unsure about having visitors come back and everything. There's been, since November 1st, there's been 119,000 visitors who have come in since November 1st. And so they're still really nervous about it. And it's understandable. But the small business owners that are open, because there are still, a lot of businesses that are closed, but the ones who are open are very, very happy that we are here. And are pretty much begging us to forego everything at the big stores and buy as local as possible. Even if it's just a fruit stand on the side of the road, to the food trucks that are out there. There's a big parking lot next door to the resort, because there's like 3 or 4 resorts next to us, and there's a huge parking lot that's just full of food trucks. And they're so appreciative that we're here. But the people, on the island, the locals who don't own small businesses, they're still a little bit weary.
Sure. So I'm hearing that you have no shortage of food then.
No, oh my goodness.
Not with all the food trucks, huh?
It is so good.
Aww.
It really, yes. And I have my husband and my son, they're big eaters. So they're loving this.
That's great.
They're loving it.
That's awesome. So tell me about one of your favorite family memories then that you have had over the last couple days.
So far, it has to be the road to Hana.
Okay.
Because for anybody who's never done it, don't go late at night. We started the road quite late in the afternoon, about 3 o'clock. Now it's an hour and a half drive up this mountain. Some of the roads turn into 1-lane bridges and everything, and you have to be very, very careful. People, the locals, they fly up and down this road. They know it all, but there wasn't any traffic, which was great. Unfortunately, we just started it a little bit too late in the day, and it gets dark here around 6:30, and there's no lights up there. And so we got to the state park. I cannot pronounce the name of the state park, but it's with the black sand beach and everything, and it's gorgeous. And as we started to make our way back, it was pitch black outside. And then it started raining.
Oh,
So
no.
my husband is driving about 5 miles an hour. It took us quite a long time, and the kids started getting pretty nervous. So they started talking about the most random things, scary movies. They were putting us into a situation where we were in like a murder movie and all this other kind of stuff. And just the funny things that my kids were coming up with, because the greatest part of this, no cell service.
Oh,
So
man.
my kids couldn't be on their phones and, you know, doing their FaceTimes and, you know, everything else, their TikToks and all that kind of stuff. So it was just a pure family bonding moment. And even though it was so scary, we never laughed so hard. And it was one of those things where it was like a near-death experience that was like the most memorable and just melted my heart. It really, really did. Other than the fact that my husband is not the happiest person. He's, you know, kind of a grumpy guy, and anybody who knows him will agree with me. Doesn't smile very much, works very hard. He has turned into a little kid on Christmas down here.
Aww.
So it has been just, it's like I could cry. I know that sounds crazy, but it really, it has brought us so much closer together. And it's just wonderful.
Oh, that's great, Sarah. And that's because that's their first time his first time to Hawaii, right?
Yeah, I have been before with my family when I was their age, and it's been on my daughter's bucket list for a very long time. And we finally just said, you know what, let's do it. They're proven that we can be safe and, you know, have a good time. And so, yeah, it's been
just
fantastic.
Wonderful. I'm so happy you've gotten to make those family memories. You know, I've talked about that a lot with some other agents and clients and friends about, you know, it's so hard right now, but yet making these memories and doing these things together when we can feel safe to do them.
Absolutely.
I'm so glad you guys got to go. And thanks for talking to us today.
Of course.
So glad, or talking to me and all of our listeners. I know, I keep hearing the waves every now and then too. So, well, I thank everybody for tuning in, and please tune back in with us because we're going to continue to bring you information, tips, tricks, and getting to hear from agents that are at these locations, you know, destinations that maybe you and your family may want to visit. So take that trip with us, hear our stories about those new destinations that we're exploring, and learn our tips and tricks that we've found useful, and keep dreaming about your next adventure. So until next time, keep dreaming.
Hey, Goose. This is what everybody does here.